O'Reilly! You need parts? O'Reilly Auto Parts has parts. Need them fast? We've got fast. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Welcome to the Patriot Barbie podcast. This show is made possible by Spreely Media. Download the Freedom Hub app today and join the free speech movement. I want to thank the people and the companies that keep my show going. All my sponsors can be found on patriotbarbie.com on my shop page. Century H2O, water systems for your home that provide clean, toxic-free, fluoride-free, and pharmaceutical-free drinking water for your family and pets for under $300. Dylan's Restaurants has been a proud podcast partner for years, and the owner is my personal friend. With 4 locations throughout Arizona, you'll always find one to dine at and love, especially the zoo. Well, especially the ranch. Well, maybe the one floating on Lake Pleasant. Dang it, they're all good. Support your freedom-loving businesses, and please check out Dylan's Restaurants. Small business owners, claim your employee retention tax credit for 2020 and 21 with an accountant you can trust. If you don't know what this is, you could be missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. Go to patriotbarbie.com and click on my partners page to read up. My Freedom Cart, a conservative-owned, made-in-America, toxic-free company that lets you shop online and delivers everything to your front door. Clean products, protein, snacks, hair care, makeup, toiletries. Dude, ditch Amazon, keep the perks, and support a pro-life and pro-freedom company. myfreedomcart.com. My Beautiful Smile is brought to you by Dr. Daniel Slyke. His dental team is passionate, detailed, gentle, and clearly very talented. My entire smile has been restored to stunning, and I owe it all to him. He's right here in Scottsdale, and consults are free. Go to patriotbarbie.com, look him up, and schedule your free consultation. Are you worried about spike proteins? If not, you should be. Get the spike formula developed by experts like Dr. Peter McCullough from the Wellness Company by going to twc.health/patriotbarbie. Listeners of my podcast can use code PatriotBarbie at checkout for a discount. You guys, once again, you can find all my partners, my makeup line, my Patriot wine, my merch company, and the Freedom Cart at patriotbarbie.com under the shop page. Now, are you ready to get started? Let's go. Welcome to the Patriot Barbie podcast. I'm your host, Lindsey Graham, author and conservative activist. I love Jesus. I love America. I'm a proud wife, mom of 3, and I'm having bold and witty conversations with America's patriots, the ones that cancel culture desperately want to blacklist. Trust me, I've been there. In 2020, I defied government lockdowns in Oregon, reopened my salon, and became an icon of freedom. I've been targeted by government and raging liberals every day since, and I refuse to back down. Patriots, I'm here to tell you, your values are worth fighting for. The Patriot Barbie podcast starts now. Welcome to the Patriot Barbie podcast. You know, I like to empower strong women. I was a weak woman once. I'm a strong woman now. One of the strongest women I know, at least I wish I knew. She's one of the strongest women in the country right now. She's been attacked, slandered, harassed, assaulted, dragged through the mud, beaten by men, which is totally illegal. Riley Gaines, you guys know her. She's the NCAA champion swimmer. She's an athlete, and she got, I don't even want to say annihilated because that's not fair, but annihilated by a dude claiming to be a woman in her sport. We're going to talk all things women empowerment, all things fiercely feminine with the one and only Riley Gaines.
Well, you are so sweet, and I'm so glad to be on with, exactly like you said, a strong woman. That seems to be a rarity. So I just think it's amazing, and I thank you for having me on. Oh my goodness.
We've tried, guys, just so you know, her and I, we've gone like weeks, each of us rescheduling and each being like, we're so sorry, but you know what? All in God's timing, totally was meant to be. I swear, like the week that I would have had you on, I think it was probably last week or the week before, my mindset wasn't in it. I was so distracted by their stuff. So I'm like, all right, I think that God needs me to be like fully focused on this because it's such a strong movement and it's so important. We're like literally losing womanhood.
Totally, we
before our very eyes. Yeah,
absolutely. In regards to, of course, it's bigger than just women's sports. I mean, they're changing the language of what it means to be a woman.
Yeah.
You're not a mom anymore. You're a birth giver. You don't breastfeed. You actually chest feed. So it's a lot bigger than I think what people even realize in terms of the erasure of women.
Right. And there's no rules around it anymore. It's crazy. Like I have conversations, one conversation particularly with an actual, and I feel like I need to say that now, an actual transgender, right? And now I won't change my vocabulary or my beliefs to accommodate any one person. And this person, I am showing them love and respect. But this person is a man. He understands that he's a man. He's transgender, which I don't really believe in the word because I believe you can't be the other gender. So just say that real quick. But there's no rules around what transgender means anymore. So like this person, for example, he looks like a woman. He acts like a woman. He doesn't participate in women's sports. He probably uses the female locker room because he looks just like a woman. And now I don't agree with that. But now, like, what do you do? What do you do to disengage him from like the feminine movement? Is it remove your breast implants? Is it remove your lipstick? Is it go back to your male name? Is it put your penis back on? Like those rules flip-flop every day. And now it's literally just men going, well, I identify as a woman.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. We're seeing this all the time. There, just like you've mentioned, there's no standard to be met to be someone who is transgender. All someone does is grow out their hair and say, I'm a woman. We're seeing that happen in prisons and not even the growing out the hair part. They understand that if you say I am a woman, you get to be housed with women, which sounds awesome to a rapist, right?
Yeah.
To get into a women's prison, they're impregnating women. It's happened in Kansas, New Jersey, Ohio, of course, California. In California, in just recent weeks, over 1,400 men applied to be women to get into women's prisons. So if nothing else, this isn't to deny that people struggle with gender dysphoria, that's not a real thing, that they're not people out there who truly are in this mental kind of delusion that deserves care. I think a lot of, in part, mental care. But can we not acknowledge how the system we have in place is putting women in harm's way actively? Right. It's taking away our privacy. It's taking away our safety, our fairness, our equal opportunities, our dignity, I could keep going on, our feelings, our identity, our mental health, at the expense, or they're prioritizing men's at the expense of our own. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing across the board.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I mean, even though you and I are probably on social media a lot and we are seeing this like prevalently, for those people who aren't on social media as much as we are, this is a pandemic of the mentally ill. And by the way, we can say that because I don't post my podcast anywhere where I can get censored. So YouTube out.
Good.
It's a pandemic of the mentally ill. And even though this is happening nationally and it's happening in areas where it should certainly not be happening, it really is that we're catering to like this minority. Now, the minority is men who think that they can become women and therefore are entitled to all women's rights. There's not that many of them. I really believe there's not that many, but it's the people supporting them that come out that are loud in numbers and want to give up, want you to give up your title for this one man. It's like you want all these hundreds of thousands, millions of women to change the way we operate, to sacrifice our safety and security for 0.01%. And by the way, for men, like the strongest creatures God created.
Right.
We need to coddle them.
Exactly. And that's something we're consistently seeing is it is a loud minority. And as you mentioned, this doesn't even make up 1% of the population, this group. Yet we have people elected in office. We just saw this in the U.S. House of Representatives a few weeks ago. This is an issue that fell completely on party lines. how can every single Democrat in office, representatives, how can they, each and every one of them, vote in opposition of protecting women and girls? That's not accurately representing their voters. That's not accurately even representing the Democrat Party.
No.
Of course, nearly 100% of Republicans agree here. But recent polls show that 85% of independent voters and 60 to 70% of Democrats don't even think men should be in women's sports. Yet every single elected Democrat official in the House, and I'm sure if it gets heard on the Senate, it will be the same conclusion. Every single one voted no. And these are parents. These are moms and dads who have children, who have daughters.
Yeah.
And you're telling me they would be okay with their daughter sharing a locker room with a fully exposed man while they're simultaneously undressing? And if that answer is yes, then they're twisted parents. Then
exactly.
They have something wrong with them. They really do.
Yeah.
That's what we're choosing to ignore. That being said, I think a lot of liberal women, especially, they're waking up to this. These are women who once prided themselves on being feminists. When the original feminist movement was brought to light really in the 90s, these are women who took pride in being a woman. And now they're seeing this administration not even be able to define what a woman is. I mean, we have a sitting Supreme Court justice who can't even define what a woman is.
Yeah.
And I think these women are seeing this and they're understanding, how can we defend what we can't even define? And so I think more and more people are waking up to really see how these elected officials aren't even accurately representing their own party.
They're not. And you know what? You're right. The fact that they all unanimously voted for it just proves that there's an agenda. Because you can't tell me that all Republicans think alike. You can't tell me that every woman thinks alike, that every married couple thinks alike, that every child thinks alike. Everyone has their own individual beliefs and opinions and morals. You all unanimously believe. And by the way, you're pointing out that they're moms and dads. You just said they're moms. So they are female. So they even are willing to say loud and proud on a platform, yep, if I go in the bathroom in the courthouse right down here and there's a man in there with his junk out, I'm okay with it. And it's
Absolutely
like,
not.
you know that you're not. And you know what? They're voting on things that don't affect them. That's the problem.
Amen. That's what we're seeing across the board. And like you mentioned, it is typically women who are fighting against sex-based protections. It doesn't make sense. But these are women who were never an athlete. They don't understand what it takes to compete at the highest level. They don't understand the value of sports, especially at that collegiate level. It's not about humanity. It's not about being inclusive. It's not about your feelings. It's not a right to be able to play at the D1 level. It's a privilege, and you have to work for it. And they don't understand that. They think everyone is entitled to being a collegiate athlete. No, I can tell you from my own experience, I dedicated 18 years of my life to my sport. 18 years of grueling, awful, miserable workouts. I mean, it's not fun, to put it quite frankly.
No.
You're starving yourself of oxygen. You're bored because you're looking at the same black line at the bottom of the pool for hours every day. I mean, in college, we swam 10 miles every day.
Oh my gosh.
It's not fun, but that's what it takes to be able to compete at that level. And the winning, it makes it all worth it. The competing, it makes it worth it. But these women who are fighting against it, they don't understand that. They don't get it. And you're right. It's something that doesn't affect them.
Well, and that is there's a new term that a lot of people are using, and it's called trans privilege. And I think that what you just said, which is something I would never know anything about, is college swimming. Like never. I swim leisurely with my kids. When you say things like, oh, I swam 10 miles a day and I would, I'm just there staring at this black line in the pool, and you're sacrificing your life and your body and your mental health. I think about rules like this. You can't take steroids, right?
Oh.
Because it would give you an advantage. It's illegal. And yet, if you were to take steroids, you wouldn't have to swim 10 miles a day, and you wouldn't have to starve yourself or starve your body of oxygen. You would get to, spend an extra 2 or 3 hours during the day doing what you wanted to do. Leah Thomas, and I hate even calling him that. What is his real name?
William
Thomas had trans privilege. He probably didn't swim 10 miles a day, and he probably didn't go on the diet that you had to go on and the routine that you had to go on, because he was already going to win because he was a
Absolutely.
man. And so
Absolutely.
he took everything. He didn't just take that award, okay, people. He didn't just take the medal that didn't belong to him. He took every single minute and every single mental block that you overcame and everything you sacrificed for years. He took that away from you. It means nothing.
Absolutely. It's all devalued. It's all meaningless. And this is at the hands of the NCAA. And of course, will Leah Thomas. I mean, Leah displayed an utter disregard for anyone else other than himself. He did not show any sort of remorse, any sort of caring, any sort of understanding of where we came from, yet demands we use his pronouns to be respectful. Where was our respect?
Yeah.
Where was that? Because maybe I'm missing something. But I didn't receive any sort of respect when we all felt uncomfortable in the locker room, yet he's still undressing and simultaneously watching us other girls undress. You want to say give you respect? It's the same thing we saw with the shooter in Nashville, which I'm from Nashville. That shooting that just happened was in my backyard essentially. And it was a trans identified shooter. It was a female who identifies as a male. Yet the media demanded we use her correct pronouns and say him. Where's the respect?
Where's the respect for the kids that were shot? I mean, come on.
Absolutely. And
that's
so
insane.
It's people come at me all the time and say, I agree with you, but you could at least use Leah's correct pronouns.
No.
And I'm with you. Someone like Caitlyn Jenner, who I don't support that lifestyle. I think it's quite blatantly. I believe God made man and woman. I believe our God doesn't make mistakes. And so while I don't necessarily support transitioning in that capacity, I can respect Caitlyn Jenner as a person because, everyone goes through their own struggles. Everyone sins. I'm just as much a sinner as anyone else, and no one sin weighs more than the other. That being said, I can be more respectful towards Caitlyn Jenner as a person, but Leah Thomas wanting respect from me, forget it. You can absolutely throw that out of the window.
Absolutely. And you know what? Caitlyn Jenner, and I'm going to say he, because I'm struggling. if he gets respect, it's for different reasons. Like you don't just get respect, especially William Thomas. You don't just get it. Okay. We're not getting it. And we're even throwing less of a fit by demanding just our basic rights, not even privileges. But one thing I will say is, Caitlyn Jenner is on our side, if you will. He doesn't believe that William Thomas should be competing in women's sports. But one thing I have said publicly, and I will continue to say it, is that he needs to give back his Woman of the Year award. Okay. It doesn't matter how much you believe that what is happening is wrong, as much as you believe and admit that you helped facilitate it. Because the year that you came out and said, I'm a woman, even though the world knew that you're a man, and you claimed awards for women, knowing that we know that you're fully at all not a woman, you started this. And so all love, all respect, but also blame. And if you want to, and I say this, you need to, if Bruce Jenner, if Caitlyn Jenner wants to really make waves, then he needs to go public and say, I would like to award this to this person, Riley Gaines. I vote Riley Gaines. And I denounce it. I am not a woman. I dress as a woman. I identify as a woman, and I will never be one. And so I give back this award. I should never have accepted it. That's what he needs to do.
Absolutely. That would be the most powerful, most respectful thing. Because that's what we're fighting against. Mm-hmm. Women deserve to be celebrated on our own uniqueness, our own physical ceilings that set us apart from men. So taking any kind of award, I don't care if it's academic, I don't care if it's athletic, I don't care. I mean, we're seeing the Nike sponsorship for sports bras go to Dylan Mulvaney. These are things that are specific to women. So
like what tits is it holding up? What boobs is that bra? The whole point is like support. Real women know that, hey, we need support, you know?
Totally. And the Tampax sponsorship, it's like, imagine missing your target audience by this much.
Yeah. Imagine going the complete opposite. I would like to sell red lipstick. I think I'll sell it to 1-year-old baby boys. I mean, like, that's how stupid their marketing is.
It's like selling Viagra to women. This doesn't work. I mean,
hey, now, don't give them any ideas. Maybe we should try to get that sponsorship.
Yeah, come on. If Dylan Mulvaney gets Tampax, I nominate the Patriot Barbie for.
Yes, thank you. I will accept my $1 million sponsorship endorsement. So, all right, I want to get a little more like real about. We all know, what we stand for. I want to know what it felt like, because my heart broke, and this was before you came out, and I was actually really mad at you. I was mad at all the girls, and I think I made videos. Look at them standing up there with him. They shouldn't be standing up there with him. They allowed him to do this. But what did it feel like standing up there and just like, you lost so much in that moment? Like, you lost so many opportunities. You lost what was yours to a man, and to stand there and be photographed and to have him cheering and smiling and being a dude that just annihilated women, and the disrespect and like the pain of losing that.
I'll say, first of all, I had planned on, I had pondered with the idea of what happens if I don't swim. I knew I qualified for finals, and I qualified top 8 in the morning. So I went up to one of the NCAA officials on the pool deck and I said, what happens if I don't get on the block? I mean, what can you do? He said, that's why we have alternates. He said, if you don't step up, someone will gladly take your place. So I thought to myself, okay, I'll race. But my kind of statement being made was, I'm not going to get on the podium. I talked with my coach about it. I talked with my teammates, and they were all well aware that I was not going to get on the podium. And my coach was very supportive of that. He said, you shouldn't have to, you do what feels right for you. And so we finished racing, and I look at the board and I look at my teammates, and all of their jaws are on the floor. And I realized Thomas and I tied. And so in the brief moments of realizing we tied, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I wasn't going to get on the podium, but now if I don't, there's not even an empty space, because we share the freaking podium. It won't even be making a statement, because there will be no blank space.
Then he'll just take all the credit.
Absolutely. And so then I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe I will get on the podium, and it can be used as sort of this opportunity to highlight a 6'4" man compared to a 5'5" female. Maybe this will be something good. Maybe this will be something that can be used to really highlight the disadvantage, which is ultimately what happened. But to answer your question, how it felt like belittlement. It felt like betrayal. It felt like we weren't worthy of our privacy. We weren't worthy of safety. We weren't worthy of voicing our opinions, because we had to be kind. We had to be inclusive. We were being totally gaslit. We really were. And I look back now, and I could realize it in the time, but now looking back at some of the things that were said from these institutions and from the NCAA of just how badly they were trying to, they successfully succeeded in suppressing our voices. And we complied for the most part. I am so regretful of that whole time period. I know it's easier said than done, especially now that I'm in the same boat as Megan Rapinoe and Brittany Griner, where I'm done competing. So it is easier said than done, but that's why now I'm advocating for women to boycott. I hate that it has to come to this. I hate that women have to compromise anything. Women should be able to play their sports. They shouldn't have to give up anything.
Right.
It was really after I saw the U.S. House of Representatives the Democrats not willing to protect women and girls, I realized legislation is not the answer. Boycott is the answer. That's the way we can effectively make change. Because up until that point, I was advocating for girls not to boycott, because I thought it was crazy we're asking them to do that.
Right.
That's what it's going to take. That's the path that less women get injured, less women feel exploited in a locker room, and less women lose out on opportunities.
It is sad, because the solution, unfortunately, is that we don't get to do what we should be completely entitled to do, We don't get to enjoy our rights. We don't get to thrive in our community. But the thing that everyone needs to hear is that this does need to be everyone. Like, you can't say, let's all boycott, and then one or two girls boycott. Then they miss out and they don't get to do what they want to do. And you still do. And you are going to lose, because if men are competing against you, you're going to lose. But you now cost your fellow woman their rights and their abilities and their entitlement to participate because you were weak. And, you know, I don't want you to feel bad about, well, now I don't compete, so it's easier said than done. The reason that it happened to you is so that you could feel it. You could experience it and say, I went through it, and I'm telling you, this is what it feels like. Spare yourself the belittlement and the betrayal and the disrespect of the NCAA, that they would, that organizations would just, I don't know. The whole role is, what does NCAA stand for?
National Collegiate Athletic Association.
And there's a women's division and a men's division.
Their job was to protect us and ensure and uphold Title IX. I mean, it's that simple. Yet they failed. They failed miserably.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, what they did was illegal by not upholding Title IX. Title IX is, of course, a federal civil rights law that is supposed to stop discrimination on the basis of sex. Mm-hmm. We were overtly discriminated on the basis of sex at the hands of the NCAA. That is a lawsuit. Of course, they make it a burden to sue because it is a financial investment. It's, of course, you're involving yourself politically. It's a huge time investment.
Right.
I mean, my lawyer for the whole San Francisco incident, he cost $650 an hour. What 22-year-old has money to do that?
I know. And you can fundraise all you want and people will support you, but it's getting to be like situation after situation after situation where we, the people, are now giving to Give, Send, Goes to fund other people's fights, which is great. But it's like, we're all funneling our money into these, you know, people that have stood up for this stuff. And we shouldn't have to. There should be a government entity created so, okay, I need to sue because you did violate. All right, well, the government has to provide you an attorney.
Right. I know. But you're exactly right. This is becoming less and less unique. Mm-hmm. It's more and more common. It's happening at a rampant rate across the country, all sports, all divisions, all levels, all ages, in every state. And I wholeheartedly mean that. I could list off 100 examples off the top of my head. So to believe the narrative that this is a non-issue, it's not really happening. So why should we protect women? We're just creating a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. That is false. It does exist. It's happening. It really, really is. And so many women are being sent a message. And that message is that they should smile and step aside and give up their trophies. As long as it makes
to a man.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite of feminism. Literally. It's crazy.
Yes.
Oh shoot. That was a really good question I was going to ask you. Darn it. What was it? What's your next step? So you were going to go to dental school. Are you going to be speaking? Are you considering writing a book? I know you're doing a lot with Turning Point. I will see you at YWLS in June.
I think my next step is really to continue doing what I've been doing, getting in front of state legislature. Last year, when really all of this kind of took off for me and I realized how important this is to fight, I was paying out of my own pocket to go to travel state to state to testify, to allow them to hear my experience, because I wanted them to look me in my eye and tell me that it's not happening. Right. Look me in my eye and tell me that we don't matter. Right. And they couldn't do it. They still can. Every state I'm traveling to, and this is consistent across the board, they won't ask me questions, the Democrats. They have the opportunity to, yet they refuse to, because one, they know they can't actually use
They can't trap you. They can't ask a trick question and trap you. The truth always prevails.
No.
Yeah.
I think just continuing to travel state to state. I'm going to Texas actually tonight. I'm going to then Michigan or the next day. I think that's incredibly important, as well as fighting to uphold Title IX at the federal level. I know we mentioned the U.S. House of Representatives and what the Senate looks like right now, but what the Biden administration is doing is abysmal. They're working to rewrite Title IX to where it's now preventing discrimination on the basis of gender identity. So what this means is men could join sororities. Men could have full access to bathrooms, locker rooms, any changing space on campuses. Men could take academic and athletic scholarships away from women. Men could live in dorm rooms with women, and you could do nothing about it. Actually, if you try to do something about it, if you were to misgender the trans-identifying individual, under this new rewrite, that is sexual harassment, and you are guilty. So upholding what Title IX was created to protect, I'm doing everything in my power to urge people to comment on the new rewrite. Their comment period is open for, I think, another week. So really important for people to get out there, comment on this, and allow your voice to be heard.
Yeah.
And just, you mentioned traveling around, getting in front of colleges. I think it's super important to engage kind of our age range, younger people. They need to be willing to have their eyes opened, see different perspectives that they're not seeing through the media or through TikTok or through whatever source they get their news from. They need to hear how this is really affecting women.
Yeah. Good for you, Riley. I'm so proud of you.
You're so sweet. I'm so excited to meet you, and I'm just so grateful. You have done such amazing work for women for a couple of years now, so I feel as if I'm indebted to you. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm like gonna cry.
Sweet.
God is bringing us together on purpose. Like he is creating an army, and I feel like we are going to lead a military forward to protect women. And I'm excited to fight by your side. So, where can people find you, follow you, support you, all of that?
Yes. My Twitter is Riley_Gaines_. Again, I try to post breaking stories. I try to highlight how politicians are responding, whether that's good or bad, just so people don't believe that narrative that I was informing you about, the non-issue, that it's not really happening, because again, that's a lie.
Yeah.
So I tried to post some myth busters and different things there and surrounding this issue. Secondly, I think my last piece of advice to parents, especially, actually, defend your daughters and teach your sons masculinity. I think that's something that's being lost in talking about this issue. We're talking about how it specifically affects women, but men can do something about this too. We need men to feel as if they should protect women. That's their duty. Not to get into the whole gender role thing here, but we need men too.
Yep.
That boycott I was talking about for female athletes, men are more than welcome to boycott as well. We need statements to be sent.
That's right. And I mean, people need to start doing kind of ridiculous things too. Like all the men on the men's swimming team need to all go into the office and say, I actually identify as a woman, one after the other. And then all the men are over on the women's team, and it makes no sense. And they're like, well, this is stupid. And you're like, nope, exactly. this is gender inclusivity. And how dare you misgender me? Like, you want to make a mockery? Let's make a mockery. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, I'm getting all fired up at the very end. Thank you for coming on, Riley. I adore you. And thanks for being such a strong woman and a guest.
Anytime. I'll see you in June.
Okay, we have to cheers first. You get to decide what we're cheersing to.
Oh, I have to get a cup. Hold on.
Grab a cup.
I'm grabbing a cup. Hold on. This is actually my water bottle that I got at the Olympics, Trials. So,
oh my gosh.
Very fitting.
All right, so we're going to cheers to whatever you would like to cheers to.
We are going to cheers to strong women. I think you embody that perfectly. I'm hoping to follow in your footsteps, and we need more of them. So 2 strong women.
Yay! Cheers. Thanks for tuning in to the Patriot Barbie podcast. Follow me on Truth Social at the Patriot Barbie and Instagram at the.patriot.barbie. Subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your friends. You can find this show, my book Targeted, and my apparel line on www.patriotbarbie.com. God bless America, and God bless you.